Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah with Harrisburg Project, and today we're going to go over our website. So I don't have a handout for you. We will be recording this session, so if you do want to come back and watch it later, you certainly can, but this is just kind of a free form. Let's see. Can everybody hear me? Oh, okay. I wonder if it was this. Let me. Okay. Hopefully. Okay, thank you. I think I should just keep asking at the beginning if everyone can hear me before I even start, because it seems like if I don't ask, then something's wrong. So, okay, so website today. So again, no handout. We will just go through the website. I'm going to point out some important things. Hopefully you'll learn about some things you didn't know you could access from the website. So it's going to be that type of a session. Also, I would love to have any questions that you have throughout. The more questions we have, the better session it's going to be. And if you're asking the question, there's probably someone else out there that has that same thing they want to know about. So give me any questions that you have as we're going throughout the session. I'm happy to help. Again, this is being recorded, so if you do want to come back and watch it again later, you're more than welcome to do that once we get it posted on our website. So we will go ahead and get started. So first of all, on our homepage, you're going to see a lot of different things. It's very busy. We are aware of that, but we also don't like for you to have to click your mouse a lot to find what you're looking for, because that means you have to dig and dig and dig. So I'll start on the home page. I'm going to go through most of the blue items up here at the top as well. So first of all, up here at the top, we always have our banner. We keep it relevant. So every Monday morning we talk about what should our banner say. So if you're ever wondering maybe like what's a hot topic, what should I be looking at, what's going on in the Harrisburg world, you can come here and look. Okay, so right now we've just started yesterday the nightly air checking. So that means that your recheck edits is going to run every night for you. So you'll be able to come in and look at your air reports, and you will know that they'll be up to date because that data check ran overnight for you. So right now you don't have to do a recheck edits to update your air report. Okay, so that's something good. We'll be doing that all the way up through the December 1 child count collection date in February. All right, so our banner is always going to be relevant. Next, our hot topics. They are just that. So the first thing, this is always a hot topic. Do you want to customize training? If you do, you click on this link, you fill out a form, and it will come straight to our support group. I will see it. I will reply to you and ask you, when would you like to train? We will set up a Zoom meeting and we do a one-to-one training together. This can be on any topic that you want. We do have some options that you can check. If it's something a little bit different than that, you can just check one of those, and we will just communicate through our emails as to exactly what you need. So it can be customized to you. So for example, I have someone that I've worked with before that is a fairly new user, and this week we're going to have a one-to-one Zoom, and she's just got some questions about different fund codes, and so it's just like a hodgepodge of things that we're going to talk about. You don't have to have a training to ask questions to us, obviously, but if you know that you want to have an in-depth discussion about some things that are going on in your district and you've got a lot of things kind of piled up, you're more than welcome to request one of those trainings. And again, it's a very casual setting, nothing too formal or nerve-wracking or anything like that. It just is usually me, you, anybody else that you want to invite, share the link with, and we just kind of have that one-to-one setting there. So next is the last group training that I did last week. It was on reports in iStar. It was a great session. I had a ton of questions, a lot of interaction from the group. So it was a really good one to have a listen to if you missed it. Out beside that recording, you'll see our notes. So you'll also have notes to go with that. Next is just going down the training I did before that, Indicator 11 and Fund Code U and iStar. So that was a group training that we did as well. And the notes are out beside that. The next two items deal with the new interpreter data collection. One of those is the tracking log that we created here to try to help you collect this data throughout the school year so you can tally your numbers at the end of the year and put them into iStar. So that data is due June 30th. We take that collection at the end of the year. It's an aggregate number. So we created this log. It's an Excel spreadsheet with some columns, and then also there is an instruction video that shows you how to use that tracking log. So if you don't have a mechanism for reporting this data because it is brand new, we've never done this before, we tried to give you something to help with that. Of course, going back and gathering data from earlier in the school years might be still a challenge for you, but at least once you get all of that data, you'll have a place to put it and track it. And then at the end of the year in June, you'll be able to transfer those totals over into iStar for the reporting. The interpreter data collection is the group training that we did when this was first released. I had a lot of questions in this session, and honestly, some of them I could not answer at the time. So I can answer a lot more now than I could then. I guess I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately. I always hate when I do a training and I don't know everything, but we had to get something out there for you guys. So if you have questions about interpreter collection, please let us know. Again, I think that a lot of the things that we were all fuzzy on in the beginning are pretty clear to me now. So if you have questions, please let us know. Also, we have our Harrisburg Project iStar planning calendar. So this is very similar to the special ed planning calendar that ISB releases, except we pull out some of the things that do not relate to iStar. So if you're looking at ISB's calendar, you might see some SIS due dates, you might see some IDEA due dates, things like that that relate to special ed and fiscal. But this is only going to relate to iStar. So just iStar items are going to be on that calendar. And it's not to say that the other calendar is not important, but if you don't deal with those other things, then you don't need to have the full calendar. So this one is just going to cater to iStar users only. And then we have ISB's new special education data roadmap. This was released last spring. It just talks about where some of the data is going. We've had this roadmap for a while, but it has been updated. So if you are interested in where all the data is going, how it's reported, LEA determinations, all those good things, then that's where you're going to find out about that. So those are our hot topics. We kind of have a lot right now because we've had a lot going on this fall, but we do move things, and we'll move those things to the bottom later in the year, and we'll look at that here shortly. But we do try to keep this current, so as soon as this training is available and ready to be published, it will take the top of the list here, right underneath those customized trainings, because those are always relevant. That is always going to be a hot topic, whether or not someone needs help, needs a new user, needs a refresher, those kinds of things. So next we're moving to manuals and guides. All right, so first is the iStar user guide. This is going to be a catalog of instructions that are step-by-step on how to perform certain actions in iStar. So the one that I use the most and send out to clients the most is the LEA list maintenance. So what you do is you click on the user guide. It opens up in a new tab. We've got this beautiful new screenshot here that opens up. And what I want to look for is an admin function in iStar. And so here you can see LEA list maintenance. And if you scroll down, it will show you step by step how you can go through the process of adding a serving district and or serving school into your drop down so you can use that on your approval records, because every district has a customized drop down, because you don't want to see every district and school in the state when you're trying to select those items. That would take forever. Okay, so instead, for the serving pieces, you're able to put only the districts and schools that you want to see in the drop down there. So sometimes we'll have people call and say, I have a child that's outplaced. They're going to a new district. We've never had a kid go there before, and it's not in my drop down. So I just copy this link and I'll send it out to you. And again, this is the one I send out the most, so that's why I'm picking on this guy. However, I also send out how to approve or deny a security request a lot. So these two right here, those are probably second and third that I send out as far as just sharing links, step-by-step instructions. So you can find anything here. Let me go back one. So you're going to find admin, student, personnel, common ISTAR terms and acronyms. If you're new to special ed, you learn very quickly. There are so many acronyms. So, you know, we've got a little group of those as well. Okay, so that's the ISTAR user guide. Next, we have our news briefing archive. So if you have lost a news briefing in your inbox, or if you always read those and then delete them, you can always come back here, look back and find old news briefings. So if you click on this today, you're going to be able to actually see yesterday's news briefing and previous, obviously. Okay. All right. Next, our manuals. So approval manual. This was released in October. We always do a changes document every time we have a new release to a manual. So what we'll do is we'll compare the old manual to the new version, and we will show any significant changes. So if you open this up, it will depend on how your browser works. I'll tell you that. So let's see here. I want to see my bookmarks. So I'm in Chrome. So I just clicked these three buttons, and then I clicked here on this box with the dots in it, and that's what allowed me to see the changes in the bookmarks. So a lot of times in these different browsers, they won't open up the way that we want them to. Even though I save these to open up this way, the browser has a mind of its own. So if you want to see the bookmarks, they're going to be over here. So these were the changes between last year's manual and the manual that we have now. So we do that for each manual that we get from ISB. So here's personnel. We don't have a new one yet. And then the reimbursement instructions, again, we don't have a new one for that yet. But when we do, we'll have a changes document for each. Next is your child count flow chart. So we make a big deal out of child count around here. I know everybody's probably aware of that if this is not your first rodeo. So we've created this. Make this a little bit smaller. We've created this flow chart so you can actually see what this data is used for. And obviously, it's a lot. So this is why we make such a big deal about the December 1 child count, because it has a huge impact on many different areas in your district. So if you ever wonder, what is this data for? Why is this so important? All I ever hear is the December 1 child count, December 1 child count. Okay, so something that might be relevant to some of you now is that this data goes in for indicators 5 and 6. They may not pull it until April, but it is from the December 1 child count collection. Okay, so if I have something in parentheses here, that just means that's when they take the data, all right? But it is all coming from that December 1 child count that we pick up in in February. So a lot of things going on here, but just so you know, this is something you can look at. If you've worked with this data forever and you have no idea, this might be pretty interesting to you. Next is our fund code in flow chart. So we have a lot of questions about fund code in. I would say this may not cover every single scenario that you're ever going to come up with these kids, but it's a flow chart that you can follow if you're not sure about creating fund in records for kids who have been receiving services mostly. Next, our upcoming deadlines. We're going to have here the special ed planning calendar at the top. So that shows you all the deadlines for the 23-24 school year. But again, their calendar is going to include other things for fiscal. So there are going to be IDEA due dates in that. There are going to be some SIS due dates in that. So it's going to have everything in regard to special ed. So not just the dates that we talked about over here with our calendar. Our dates are here, they are here, but you're going to have a lot of other things as well. So Showing your due dates here, starting off in January. That's going to be our next big date. We're kind of, just hanging out right now. We're pretty busy actually for this time of year still. We've got a lot of calls and emails and all that good stuff, but we don't have any data due anytime soon. We don't have a lot going on in iStar right now. So we're going to start those preliminary snapshots January 12th this year. And of course, we're working toward our February 21st due date, which is the last day you're able to make any changes or additions, edits to iStar for that February 1, or I'm sorry, for that December 1 child count. Next, down here at the bottom, these are collection dates. There are going to be so many dates here. They relate to many, many different systems at ISB, but we are a part of these dates. So you're able to look there and see, if you want to know what's going on in general, in all of ISB, you can see these key dates for collections. Sometimes this is important to you as an iStar user. If you are relying on a SIS deadline, we need SIS enrollments. And so if their due date at the beginning of the year, I think it's tomorrow, maybe. I could be wrong, but I think it's tomorrow. So they've had all this time to do enrollments. So those are things you could go look at and see, why don't I have enrollments? How come this is taking so long? Is this okay? Those kinds of things. All right. And then you can print this 23-24 due date calendar. This is just going to show you all the due dates at a glance, basically. So these are the big ones for us. So, you're looking at our weekly snapshots begin here, December 1 child count due here, moving on to March. It shows when your superintendent has to have the certification done. So we're just showing you here key dates, that are important for the school year. Whoop. Okay. On the far right-hand side, this is our YouTube channel. You can go to the channel and it's going to have every single recording of everything we've ever done here that is relevant. So we're going to have our full-length videos like what we're doing today, where we're having a group training. We're also going to have how-to. Some of them are short snippets, some of them are longer. So if you don't know how to room and board, for example, if you're not sure, if you have a student that's a residential student this year, you've never had one before, you're going to be able to find a training there on how to enter claims, those kinds of things for room and board kids. But then you're going to see like how to do an INDAD, how to add a student, how to delete a student, short little snippets as well. So if you go there, you're going to have access to all the videos that we have on our channel. But we also have some of those at the bottom broken down by category. So once something does not need to be in the hot topics anymore, we move it down here. So general topics, these are just going to be places that really don't have any other home. Profile and approval. So shortly we'll start moving things down here. So like indicator 11 and fund code U, those would go under approval. Summer claims or student claims. So right now claims are kind of off our radar. We're finally done with claims. Summer term orphanage was due November 1st. As of today, we are in a tiny kind of a correction time, more so for ISB than for you guys, but that ends tomorrow. We are still error free on approvals and claims. So everything looks great there. But everything that relates to claims and reimbursement will be here. And what you need to know is that, yes, you see a lot of trainings here. So what we do is keep every training that we do on the website for a year until it can be replaced. So the first one that I'll probably do this year will be an all claims in iStar. And as soon as we have that session, we will get it transferred over, add closed captioning, all those good things, and then we will publish it and replace the one that's here with the new notes. So yes, we know there are things here that are from last school year, but it's better than nothing. If you have no idea about claims and you just wanted to kind of breeze through something and look, then you'll be able to come here and do that. Next, personnel approvals. And then on the end are how-to snippets. So again, those snippets are really, really short trainings, show you how to do something really quickly. Most of those things are in the user guide as well. It's just what you prefer. All right, so you can get to our user guide from here as well. You can access ISB's website. You can go to iWAS. So some people will come to our website and go to iWAS that way and log into iStar. It's whatever you prefer. And then our resources. This is an area that kind of has some things that people miss. We don't host most of these pages, but we will redirect to a lot of pages from the resources. So what do I mean by that? Well, we will send you over to ISB's planning calendar here. So I'm sorry, their public calendar. So you're able to come over from our website, see if your public calendar has been uploaded, look at the days, see if it's been amended, those kinds of things. So you can get to that from our website. Okay. Another thing that you're going to see here is going to be in the spring. We will put the tuition cost sheet data here. So as you're working on claims and you're looking for that per cap or your enrollment, your December 1 child count number, your number of classrooms, you need that if you're doing a 5066A for your claim. So if you're creating a cost sheet, you're going to need that data. So we host that here. Keep a copy of it here. Also, the private facility search. This is probably the most commonly used area under resources, not only by you as districts and iStar users, but we have educators all around, parents that use this. And so essentially, this is an ISB application. We link to it from here, and it allows anyone who's trying to find a facility for a student to put in the criteria to locate those and see if they are available for placement or not. So you can also access that, again, under resources on our website. Moving down, more things for private facilities, just some resources. We put all of ISB's memos that we receive under here. Let's see. I think that's the best of it. So right here in the middle, these ISB links, I use these all the time. So maybe it's not something that interests you. Maybe it's not that helpful to you, but it saves me a lot of time. I know they're here. I don't have to go to ISB's website and all those good things. So I just use this area a lot. Next, our events. This is going to show you, look how sparse this is. I just told the girls this morning, I said, I can't believe this. One more training to go after today. So this fall has flown by. We got one more training. I call this a refresher. It is a refresher, but it's also preparation for January. So we're going to talk about things there that we need to be thinking about, working on, getting ready for that December 1 child count. So that's going to be our final group training for 2023. Next is iLeaf. So for iLeaf, this is going to help you locate schools, districts, ROEs, co-ops, those kinds of things. So you're not going to find private facilities here, so no therapeutic day schools, but sometimes I may need to know what's the RCDT code for Harrisburg schools. So I can come here, type in Harrisburg and hit search, and then I'll be able to see the RCDT code for Harrisburg. Okay, just remember when you're using this, less is more. So if you're not sure exactly how the spacing is done for your school, I always have problems with a district down here, DuQuoin. Sometimes it's DU space capital Q. Sometimes it's DU capital Q. I never know what it's going to be. So you just have to be careful whenever you are searching for things, if you want to make sure that you find what you're looking for. So I just use this as basically a lookup. If I'm, have someone call and they say, I have this school, it has several different names, it's a public facility, they have several different areas, things like that. I'll say, okay, well, what city is this child going to? So we'll start with city, and then we'll just kind of move backwards from there till we find what we're looking for. So that's what iLeaf is for. And then our recent updates to iStar, this will tell you what has been going on as far as improvements or corrections to the system. So you can see we had an update last week, and it was pretty significant for DCFS validations. So if some of you are experiencing some new errors in that area, please let us know if they aren't resolving, if you don't know what to do, because we are looking at those, and ISBE's going to be taking a kind of a different look at how they're approving these and doing overrides and things like that. So it was a pretty significant release, even though it doesn't look like much, solely because of this area here in the middle. But other than that, we had some corrections, updated validations. We've added in some new warning messages about evidence-based funding notifications, so different things there. But you can go all the way back and see what did the deployments contain, what were in those. What happened. So, okay, so moving back to home, I will take any questions that any of you have. Remember that we only have the one training left this year, so want everybody to try to get on that and have a little refresher before you go on break for the holidays. We will start training early in January. I'm going to work on my schedule this week, so I'm hoping that I can have something published by next week so you can start planning for 2024 and be ready for that December 1 child count. So January, February, and March are pretty busy months around here. We get a little break and then we start claims again. So I'll take any questions that anyone has right now. If you don't have any and you need to get going, I totally understand, but I hope that everybody can attend our final training in December. Okay. I don't see any questions coming in, so I will let all of you get, and I will hopefully see you at the next training in December if I don't talk to you before then. So thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye.